Hello, my name is Nir Shoushan and I'm managing the Primo VE SFX development teams. And I'm here today to explain the new customization concept for the NDE. So I couldn't physically attend, but I hope this recording will be a suitable replacement. So let's start. So what are we going to talk about? We'll explain why we need a new concept. We'll briefly review the solution we chose, which is the Webpack and Module Federation. Then, as we know, for some it can sound too complex, we'll review some basic OTB options for customization. After that, we will dive into the new concept with high-level review following LiveDemo. So sit back and relax. So why do we need a new concept? The short answer is Angular 19. The NDE is written with Angular 19, and with Angular 19, new technology requirements are required. Angular 2 Plus is written entirely in TypeScript and meets the EC6 specification, which is much faster than AngularJS. It is a component-based and uses hierarchical dependency injection systems, which boost the performance as well, and it is built keeping in mind the support for mobile. And as a component-based, a component needs to be compiled in order to be deployed in the application. Angular 2 Plus uses an ahead of time compilation which improves performance and security. With that in mind, we had to think of a new way for the customization in Primo. And the technology we chose is Webpack and Module Federation. Webpack and Module Federation. What is Webpack? Webpack is a module bundler for JavaScript application. Module Federation which was introduced with Webpack 5, and it allows remote modules to be requested and bootstrapped at runtime into the application. We used, as a side note, we use Module Federation plugin to achieve that. In the NDE, NDE is the host and the custom application is the micro frontend. NDE as a monolith using custom component at runtime. This is an illustration of what happens behind the scenes. When there is a request for an NDE component, the first thing we ask if it is customized. If it is, we are going to fetch it from the custom module, convert it to a web component, and brings it back to the browser. Otherwise, we are going to retrieve the original component into the browser. Why web component? It relates to what I said about the ongoing Angular updates. When we started the NDE project, we started it with Angular 16 and a straightforward implementation of Webpack and Module Federation. With the upgrade to Angular, I think it was 18, things got broke in the aspect of the customization package. And what we found is that a change in the Angular code create a strong dependency between the host component and the remote component, which led us to convert the custom component to a web component, which completely removed the version compatibility dependency. Okay, so now that we understand our motivation and how we are trying to achieve that, and before we get into the details, let's review the basic customization that we are providing out of the box. In the NDE, several customization can be simply done in the Alma backoffice. Logo, landing page, header and footer, those can be customized by uploading the files into the customization package and deploy them into the server. A list of preset theme a set of predefined color themes that we provide for simple theme customization, and third-party integration. As for third-party integration, it relies on the customization package for the vendor to provide, with one exception, the reference to the remote entry and a configuration file are configured in the Alma backoffice in the Discovery menu, Add-on Configuration. Okay, so in order to put the previous slide into action, let me show you what I was talking about. So this is the Discovery menu, configure views, select the view to modify, edit. This is an NDE view. The first thing to configure is the logo clickable URL. This URL will be every click on the logo, no matter if it's customized or the OTB, will redirect to this configured URL. Next, there is the Manage Customization Package. This is the preset theme that I mentioned. You can, we will look at this NDE view, we see now that it is all configured with blue theme. Let's change it from blue to orange, save it, wait for the deploy success message, go back to the view, refresh it, and we're supposed to see an orange theme instead of the blue one. Next, there is an option to about footer, header, logo, and the landing page. Same as previous, we can download a template package. There was some changes to the folder structure of the template package that to be aligned with the NDE. This is a very flat tables folder structure. We have here the README file with an explanation for almost every element in the customization package. For instance, under assets, header, footer, you can put the header or footer HTML. This is the home page. You can modify the home page. And images. Images will hold, for example, the library logo. Library logo. Once done, you need to save the package with the view code, zip it, and upload it to the server. Again, waiting for a success deploy message, and you can, once completed, you can view all the changes in the view. And the last thing that I talked about was the third-party integration. Again, in the configuration, discovery, we see here add-on configuration. In here, you need to define a name and a URL to download the remote entry, to select to which NDE view it's applied to, and a configuration file. The configuration file, it's a simple JSON with a key value, mostly used for parameters that the third party needs to, in order to, I don't know, for example, an institution token, etc. This does not need to be deployed. Once the NDE view is the selected view for this add-on is loaded, the remote entry is fetched from the vendor hosting server, and it is deployed into the NDE. That's it for. Okay, so now that we are done with all the small details, let's move into the technical aspect of the new concept. So for the new concept technical aspect, from the NDE developer perspective, for every component that is to be customized, we are adding an entry to the component decorator or directive-based custom directive. With that, an institution can add additional functionality to a component or completely rewrite its behavior. One thing to look at maybe for debug purposes, or if something doesn't work, is to check if this exists on the component to be customized. I can say that 99% of the components that we are writing have this entry, with an exception of maybe the app root component, which is the root element of the NDE. Only components that are decorated with host directive can be customized. The host directive property allows us to apply directives to a component's host element directly from within the component TypeScript class. This feature is part of the directive composition API. And on the opposite side, in the custom component, a regular Angular component, this is an Angular, using Angular schematics can create a component, G for generate, C for component, and the component name. This is an example, NGGC NDE recommendation custom. And this is what you will end up with. We have some best practice and recommendation that we would like to follow, but basically there are no restrictions. One of them is the component name should be a prefix with NDE and suffix with custom, and in the middle you will put the name of the component. Again, this is the best practice. We are not restricting anything. Last thing to do after you code your component is to map it to a selector. A selector is a property of a component decorator that uniquely identifies a component in the DOM. This is the way to do it. There is a predefined empty map that we ship with the custom package. You need to fill in the selector to be customized and the component that should override or customize the OTB component. For customizing a component, we provide several ways to apply the logic into the NDE component. You can suffix the component selector with before, after, top, bottom, and none. Before will add your custom logic before the NDE component. After will add your custom logic after the NDE component. Top will add your custom logic as the first element within the NDE component. And bottom will add your custom logic as the last element within the NDE component. None will completely replace the NDE component. This is defined at the custom mapping, the file I previously showed. In the mapping, you define the NDE selector with the annotation of before, after, top, bottom, or none. Another important technical aspect is the custom CSS. The NDE design system is based on material design. Under the hood, we use Angular material. Colors for the application are defined by a palette, which is a CSS map with color range. In order to use your own theme, first create it with this command. This will generate M3 theme file that you can now use. To use it in a file called Customized Theme SCSS, you need to uncomment those three lines. This will apply your file to the NDE instead of the OTB configuration. Okay, so now that we are done with most of the theoretical stuff, and before moving on to the live demo, there is the Q&A part. Now, as this is a recorded session, I won't be able to answer your questions here. So I've put my email. You can send me your questions, and me or one of my team members will answer. Moving on. Okay, so now we're at the live demo. For the live demo, I will start with downloading and setting up the development environment, following some basics just to feel how it works. Okay, so in the next video that I will show, I'm going to download the custom project from GitHub. This link will download it directly. I will extract the package and open with an IDE, in our case Visual Studio Code. I will edit the build settings with my institution and my view that I'm going to customize, and run npm install and run build just to start up with the development environment. Once the npm run build will run, we will see that we will get and the build setting environment is configured correctly. We will see a zip folder under the distribution package of the development environment with the zip file that we can directly upload as a customization package. Okay, so by pressing the link, we will end up at the GitHub custom module repository. Before we will download the folder, let me show you that there is a very comprehensive README file that explains almost everything that you need to get things started, from installing dependencies, checking Angular version that you are using with configuration of the proxy, which I will show, definition of the component to selector mapping, etc., etc. Okay, let's download the folder. This is by we are at the main branch. Download zip. This will download the folder to your local machine. Now we can extract the folder and open it with, as mentioned, Visual Studio Code. I already done that to save some time, so let me show you. Okay, this is the after extracting and open with Visual Studio, we see this project, and let's, before getting into more details, let's review some files. So the first file that I want to show, which is important if you want to upload eventually upload your custom package to the server, is the build setting environment. In here you can define the institution ID. I'm using training 1inst. This is the institution I'm going to show my examples, and this is the view code. By setting this definition, when running npm run build, it will eventually generate a folder, a zip folder that can be uploaded as is to the to Alma in the managed customization. Another file that I mentioned is the proxy configuration. There is a way to start a local server in the development environment and redirect all the requests to a specific URL. For instance, you can point it to your production environment and see everything that you are customizing in your local, in the production only for you, not, it won't apply or affect any other users. Another file is the mapping. This is the mapping file that I mentioned. In here you will map a selector to a component that will eventually customize the specific selector with the code that you write in the custom component. I think that is it. Okay, so now let me show you. Let's go to the NDE. Okay, this is the NDE. Without customization. I now started a local server that is listening to port 4201, and the command, let me show you. The command also written in the README, and it's ngserve and the proxy configuration that we are going to work with. By running this command, there will be a local server listening to this proxy configuration, and everything that I will do here in my local environment will be applied and can be tested with the proxy that you configured. Okay, let's see. This is the NDE. Let's go to the home. Okay, so now this is the NDE, and let's see how we can choose a selector to work with. By pressing F12, we'll open the developer tools, and in here I can inspect and search for, let's search for a NDE dash. This will list all the NDE components that can be customized, except for the NDE uproot, which I mentioned that is missing the host directive and cannot be customized. Okay, this is the landing page. There are very small amount of NDE components, but let's do a search, and in the search now we can see and select a selector that we can okay, this is the NDE search bar presenter. NDE search results. I'm looking for the NDE search results container, which is this one. You can inspect and see that this is for NDE search result container. This is it. Okay, so this is a selector. Now I can go and map this selector to a component. Let me delete this one. Okay, now let's create a component. Okay, so NGGC for generate create NDE search results container custom. This will generate a custom component called NDE search results container custom that I can now map with this file to whichever selector I choose. So we chose the NDE search results container, and the name of the custom component is NDE search results component. Let's import it. And now, okay, as mentioned, there is top and bottom, before and after, and none. This is none, which means that this component will completely override this selector. So what is expected is that once this is deployed, I'm going to override all the search results container. So instead of seeing the results, I will see what this component template, which is I'm going to see this string instead of the search results container, again because I map the entire component, the selector, to my component. So let's refresh the page. Now you see I'm connected to the local server on port 4201. I perform a search, and once it's reloaded, I see now I don't have any search results because the custom components override the entire OTB component. Let's put it as a top element for this selector. Refresh it. Let's wait for it to deploy. It's done. Refresh the page, and now we will see the search results in addition with the with this string on the top, for relatively top for this component. I can put it on bottom. Let's put it on both top and bottom. Save it. Refresh the page. And now I'm supposed to see it in here and also on the bottom. Okay, so this is a very simple way to explain how this is working. So now that we are past these are okay, let me just show the last thing that I want to show is that by running npm run build, this would generate a zip folder containing the package that I can take and upload to the NDE. Let's wait for it to complete, and under the dist folder we will see a zip containing the custom model with those two elements, and this can be uploaded to Alma. This is our Alma. There is no package. Let's search for so now we get this message: please upload the zip file to Alma backoffice custom package section to deploy your custom module, and this is the zip under dist. Let's go to the dist. There it is. Select it, upload it, and once it will be uploaded, let's save it, let's refresh. Now notice that I'm not working with proxy, so I uploaded the custom package to this server, and now I see the NDE search results component work on the top, in the bottom. Okay, so just a recap of what we've completed so far. So we've seen how we can download and set up a development environment. We show the basic customization with an empty component just to feel how it works. We also showed a way of checking our local changes with the proxy configuration, and we finalized by uploading the package to the view, and so all our changes in our production environment. So in addition with how we can check our customization, we have two options. The first one we covered, which is the checking with local proxy. We saw how to change and configure the proxy conf MJS file and start the development environment with ngserve and the proxy configuration. The other option is to use local custom package URL parameter. By starting the development environment with an ngserve and adding use local custom equals true to the NDE URL, all requests will be retrieved from localhost 4201. And now I will show how it works. So to test it with use local custom package, we need to let's start the server with ngserve only without the proxy configuration. And on the back office side, let's remove the customization package that we've uploaded just to show how it can be done with the use local custom package. So now that the customization package is removed, this is the real environment, not from the proxy, and let's refresh it, and now we can see that we don't see the custom component that we added in the at the top and bottom of the search results container. Now the server is up with ng-serve, and now we can add the URL parameter of use local custom package equals true, and by testing it this way, we are using the search results we are using the customization package from our local environment, localhost 4201, and but we are using our real production environment. Okay, so for accessing data that we need to work with in the customization components, we have two options. One of the options is using the state. The NDE is managed by NGRX Redux, which can be used using this plugin to Chrome, can be used to see how the state looks and see which properties from the state from the store can be accessed. I will show in the demo. I will show a way of accessing of retrieving search PNX in the full display from the store and using it. Another way of working with the data of the components is to use the host component. In order to gain access to the parent component data and properties, the host component is injected to each custom component at runtime. The data and properties are those the host component is using. For instance, in this example, the NDE Online Availability host component will be injected to the NDE Online Availability custom component, meaning that if I will generate another mapping like this, but attach it or map it to a different selector, the same component will act differently depending on the selector that is customizing. Data that was accessed in the NDE Online Availability when with this mapping won't necessarily be available if I will take the same component and map it to a search result container, for example. How to access? We just put an input of the host component in our custom component. Okay, so for the first example, I'm going to show 3 ways to access data and from the host component, and according to where the data was fetched, I will present it. So I have a generic method that getTerm for AI. This is a method that extracts terms to send to an image generator. So for each term, I will know where it came from. If it came from where, so we have 3 options. Fetch the terms from display to display from a signal. It's a host component signal. Get display search results from the doc input, a way to access from the host component to an input. Now this is an example that the input will be from different to not exist depending on where I'm going to display this component, the full display details component. And the third option is to fetch it from again, a host component, a signal of search results, a different signal within the host component. Again, those are three options that are differ in the selector they are customizing. Let's review the code, a very basic code, extract data. We have here the input for the host component. Those are the terms that I'm going to generate an image from, and once the image is generated, I will present it. And now last thing, let's put this that we also have. Signal. Search result. Selected record. Okay, so let's now that we have the component with a basic HTML to display the image in the page according to this mapping. So let's start with this one, full display details before. So I have three different selectors: NDE full display details, NDE full display container, and NDE full display sidebar. They differ in the input in the host component attributes that they share. So for each I will extract data according to what I have in hand. So for the full details before, let's go to the NDE, refresh the page, and now I'm expected to see an image that is generated from the title. Why title? Because here it is, with the item water and power resource service project data. This I know because I selected this selector, and because I selected this selector, the data was only the title was fetched from a very specific attribute on the host component. Second example, and again, how I know that they differ, because for each option I'm selecting it from a different location from the PNX, and I'm fetching the PNX from three different options depending on what I have in hand with the current component selector that I'm customizing. Now let's put the same at the top of the full display container. Okay, so now I see that I have this image that was generated by those tokens, the title. I have this image that was generated from the subject. How I know? Because I fetch the subject in the NDE search results container, and this was generated from the subject, water resource, United States. This was generated from water and power resources service project data. And now I want to put another image here. This image will be fetched from a different selector, an NDE sidebar selector. Again, they differ in the data. Each component is injecting to the custom component. So for this option, I will fetch it from only if I have a signal search result on the host component. Again, they are all for each. It passes the all if-else statements, and for whenever it exists, it will generate the terms accordingly. So I know for that for the first option, this is the first thing that answer to the if. So in this, for the first option, which is the NDE full display details, we now this was taken from the details. This is the title. This is the second option. The first option is from the subject, and the last one is from the type of the record. So let's open the last one, and now that I will compile it and refresh the page, I will see 3 different images from the same PNX that because and it's the same custom component, but it shows that data can be accessed from 3 different locations. Now I used different tokens to generate an image just to illustrate that it is taken from different places, but I can have a single a custom component that will generate always will generate the image from the subject, for example. And in this case, I will, in the custom component, I will add the options that I can fetch data, but I will retrieve from the same. I will fetch the data differently, but I will extract from each option. I will extract the same token, which is the subject, from the PNX. So this is an example for that shows that the same component can be different in the component and the selector that is customizing. Okay, so for the next example, I'm going to show a way of accessing data from the host component view model attribute. View model holds the services for in the full display, and in this case I'm going to access the view model observable, fetch all the online services, and I'm going to override the OTB online services with an additional services that I'm going to add. So I'm going to preserve the current services and add my additional services according to what I have in hand. If I have an OCLC, I will generate a link to I think Amazon or OCLC. If I have a link for if I have an ISBN, I will generate a link to search the ISBN in Amazon, etc. So so for the start, I will before knowing anything, I'm going to print into the console the host component, which is injected. Where to? I want to online availability, and I want to override it completely. Now, why NDE online availability? Let's see how this can be fetched. When you choose to customize, you need to select a selector, as I mentioned. If I'll inspect this element, I will see that this is NDE online availability. Now NDE online availability, which is the component I'm going to override. And if we look at the console, and the online availability, and right after I printed the host component, and I see I have a view model. This is the host component that I print, and I see that I have search result signal, and I have a view model, which is observable. And this is the view model when I see what it holds. It has the online links, and all I need to preserve the current services and add my own services. So this is this is the component, and I'm going to override the entire NDE online availability. Let's put it after, just to see that there are two. In this example, there are no online availability links, so I see only my custom component links. In this example, I see that we have the original online component and the one that I've added. Now I want this one also holds the original and an additional search assistant on WordCat, which this is the additional service that I'm adding depending on the identifier that the record has. So for this one, I see WordCat. Okay, so how this was done. So first I'm printing the host component to see what I have in hand. Once I know, I can subscribe to the view model. This is an observable, I can subscribe to it, and I can traverse its services and build my own services. Again, I can constantly printing to the console log whatever I have in hand in order to know how to continue forward. So I'm generating a new array of online services, and for each service I'm pushing the current one that I have, and once this is done, I'm going to fetch identifier, and for each identifier I'm going to generate my custom link. So if I have an ISBN on the record, I'm going to build a link to Amazon. If I have to Amazon and WordCat, if I have OCLC, I'm going to use also WordCat, and if I have ISSN, I'm going to use also WordCat. This is just for the sake of the example. And once done, I'm going to print all the online services that I've just generated. Fetching the identifiers, again, I can get from the host component the search results, PNX, and fetch for title, ISSN, ISBN, and OCLC ID, whatever I need. Small normalization for the OCLC, and a method for what to do when pressing a link. And this is a very simple template. just listing the my own services, and for each to put it in a drop down. So how it looks, I think we already saw that. So let's remove the OTB and completely override the OTB behavior. Now I have a new custom component that completely overrides the OTB component, and now I see only my link with an if. There was a previous link. I don't mind the UX, I'm not a designer, but this is the get PDF that was originally on the record, and now I have both this, and because there is an ISSN, I also have a link for WordCat. I don't know if we should insist of finding an ISBN example, but this is how it works, and it should work also if there is an ISBN on the record. Okay, so for the next example, I'm going to show a way to use the NGRX store to fetch data. So first, let's have a look at the store and what is it about. Okay, so after installing the Redux Home DevTools, you will have this. This is the state of the application at every point of the way. Now I can see that now I'm on the full display of the record, and I want to see what I have in hand. So what I want is to I want to fetch the record and override the detail section with my own detail section. So how can this be done? So I see that I see a full display, and I have in the state of the full display, this is the full display, pretty straightforward. I have a selected record, but what I don't have is the PNX in hand. So we can traverse on the tree and have a look at the search, which is again pretty straightforward. I have an idea. Let's perform a search and see, because I was out of context, and I guess one of the refreshed converted to a deep link search. Now I've performed a search, and I see that the search state is now contains IDs and and entities. Entities are the data itself. So I have a list of IDs and entities which holds the data, and I want to take the display and build my own detail section. So I have, and let's see what I have in the full display. This is the search full display. Currently I have nothing because I'm not in the full display, I'm in the brief results. This is the brief results. If I will get into a record full display, I see that now I have a full display which is populated with the selected record, which is this one, and I have additional information. So this is the selected record ID. In this case, this is a CDI record, and now I can see that this record, I believe, will be also in the search state. So crossref LH, this one. And as for the entities, I see that it is this record, and this is the display section, and this is what I want to take. So to do that, I will need to combine to first select the search state, first select the full display, fetch the record ID. With that record ID, go into the search state. For the selected record ID, fetch the entity from the list of entities and fetch the PNX from the search state. Let's see how this can be done. So I've written a kind of a utility that can be used whenever you need to access PNX. In this case, it will work across all the section of a full display. If you remember the previous example with the generated image, I had to take it from 3 different places just to emphasize the fact that when using the host component, it can't be changed. It's a good way to work with, but if you, for example, wants to display for the same component across all the full display, you can use this selector, and this will always bring the same data, assuming we have a full display, initialized full display, meaning that we are, as we saw, that once I'm getting into a full display, the state for the full display is populated, and I have a search, meaning that I did a search and got into the full display. So what we see here, it's a definition of selectors to retrieve the currently selected record from the NDE state. So we have the 2 feature selectors, that one is for the full display and one for the search, and the selector that is using the selected full display and the to retrieve the selected record ID, and once the selected record ID is populated, I can use another selector with the search state selector to use the record ID to fetch from the entities array the specific record I'm interested in. Okay, so this is a kind of a util that I can use, and let's see how this can be used. So I have this new component, NDE fetch data from selector. For the template, it's a simple template, a loop of to display an item key and value from the display section of the PNX, how it is fetched. So I'm not using the host component here, I'm using the store, and I'm subscribing to the selector, which is the select full, which I just show. So I have this dot record dollar. Usually when there is a dollar, it's an observable. At least in our team we try to follow that rule. And once I have this observable for the selector, I can subscribe to it and fetch the record. Once I have the record in hand, I'm iterating over the display section and populating the display section key values. And this is what we see here. I'm looping over the display section, and for each item in it, I'm going to display the item key and value. So let's see how it works. And the mapping is to NDE full display details and mapping it to my custom component. And now that it's there, let's refresh the page, perform a search. And now let's get into a full display record. This one looks interesting. And now for the details, I see that I have a totally different details section from what we had at the OTB. Let's look at the same record at the, okay, no, never mind. So now that we have three different components, let's pack them to a single zip file that we can npm run build will generate a zip file that I can upload to the server. This is the let's see how it looks now before uploading our new customization. Search for water at everything. Water at everything. You see, I don't have the image of type. I don't have. This is the OTB detail section, and this is the OTB. This is the display section from my customization. If you ask me, it's much more no. So now I want to upload these three components that we just wrote into the my production environment. Let's have a look at the build process. So I have, if I'm getting this message, meaning that it was a success, I can take this zip file and upload it as we've done several times. Currently I have no custom package. I can log in. I can select this zip file which we've just created, upload it, and now in our production environment. Okay, so we see the image, we see our custom online services, and we see our own detail section. So that is it. So that was it from my side. I hope you've enjoyed, and hope I've managed to remove some barriers and make you feel more comfortable in getting into the new customization concept. For questions, clarifications, you can email me and I'll try to quickly answer, me or one of my team members. That is it. Thank you. Bye bye.